Well, hello there, everybody, and welcome to another beautiful night for a night chat right here on Tommy Travels the Second. My voice is much better today than it was yesterday. I'm not way down here in the basement like I was yesterday. I feel much better than I did. I got a good night's sleep, and today was one of those rainy, kind of gloomy, misty days, and tonight is the same thing, only much darker outside. So I thought this would be a great night for a night chat. And so the topic for this evening is all about time travel. We've done a few interesting topics like UFOs and Bigfoot and ghosts and things like that. And time travel is another one of those cool topics. So if you are brand new to this channel, go ahead and hit subscribe so you don't miss out on a thing. And I will see you right after this. And so before I get into this topic this week, I want to take care of a little bit of business. On Monday of this week, I did a video about daylight savings time, and that was due to a suggestion from a subscriber, TN Shy Lady. She said I should do that, and I thought that was a good idea, and so we got it done. And I forgot to shout you out in the video on Monday when I was actually doing it, so I'm taking care of that this evening. And I am also looking for ideas for these night chats as well. We've done a few different ones here. They've all been pretty interesting topics, but if you've got other ideas for what I should delve into, please leave a comment below, because I'm really open-minded to anything that you guys would care to discuss, and if I use your idea, you will most likely get a shout-out. And so let me know what you're thinking. Give me some comments below on that. And so I did touch on the topic of time travel in a previous night chat that we had on UFOs. Because one of the theories about UFOs that's out there is it's not aliens at all. It's us. In the future, we invent time travel and come back to observe ourselves and our society, which would greatly explain why you don't see UFOs landing on the 50-yard line at the Super Bowl or trying to interact with humans in any way. Might even explain abductions. They'd want to see some biology about the humans back in this time period. Who knows? I don't. But it's just kind of interesting to think about if that technology is even possible. In the movies, they make it look really easy. All you have to do is step into a contraption and push a few buttons, or get into a DeLorean, and then it spins around or goes 88 miles per hour, and then boom, you're at whatever time you want it to be at. The preset time and date. I'm not sure that it's ever going to be quite at that level of sophistication. And I don't think time travel is anywhere close to being established, and won't happen anywhere in our lifetime or probably our children's or grandchildren's lifetime. And whatever the outcome turns out to be, I think would be a lot different than how we picture it today. There are theories out there about if we could travel at the speed of light, that messes with time. Like one theory that I've heard is if you could travel away from Earth at the speed of light for a long enough time and then come back, during the time that you were gone, you would have only aged that amount of time, but the people on Earth, you could be meeting your great-grandchildren. Now, I don't know if that's true. I'm not a science guy. So if you've got some theories behind if that's true or not, let me know in the comments below. Or if you've got other ideas about how it might be possible, I would love to hear about it. And so let's just say that you could step into a contraption and spin around, or get into a DeLorean and go 88 miles per hour, and then wind up, boom, at whatever time that you set, in the past or in the future. Where would you go? A lot of times people will say the past, because We know what's back there. We know what happened in our past. And we've romanticized certain eras of human history that they would want to see. And like some people will say, I would want to go back to the time of the Renaissance. Because we have Renaissance festivals that are really fun, where you can walk around with the giant turkey leg and see shows and all that kind of fun stuff. And jugglers and all that activity and action. But I think the reality of going back to the Renaissance wouldn't be as much fun as people give it credit for. You'd quickly learn that, oh, I can't just call an Uber and go over there. I either have to walk or ride a horse. Where am I going to find a horse? You want a drink of water? You're getting it from a well. That may not be all that clean. There's not even bottled water in the Renaissance times. I think a lot of these people that say, I would want to go back to the Renaissance would quickly come back. Or people will say weird things too, like, I would go back to see the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Really? Why? We know it happened, and it's not that great of a story. So you'd go down there and see the signing of the Declaration of Independence, and then you'd come back and tell everybody, hey, I witnessed the signing of the Declaration of Independence. Oh yeah? How was that? What went on there? Well, it was a bunch of guys signing a legal document is basically what it was, but I saw it. Not a great story. And so if I did have the ability to go off on a time-traveling adventure, I would not go to the past. We know a lot about the past already. Where I would go is the future. And that's where you kind of get into a tough thing, is how far into the future do you want to go? Oh, sure, some people would say, yeah, I'll go to next year's Super Bowl, find out who won, and then I'll start placing bets all year long this season and make myself a ton of money. And you could do that, I suppose, but that's not what I would be using that power for. I would move probably about 100 years into the future. 100 years seems like a good move. You know, because if you look at 100 years ago, that was 1919. America was still just forming, really, but you could have big cities and big buildings, like New York was being built. You could see early cars on the road. You know, so you'd go through some culture shock going 100 years into the future and seeing all the cars on the road and the planes and the jets going overhead and all of the technology, the computers, the smartphones, cameras, all that kind of stuff. That would blow your mind a little bit, but you'd still feel like, okay, I'm in the United States, I know where California is and New York, and that's all set up, and I feel like it will still be that way 100 years from now. There'll still be New York and California and the United States, hopefully. And but the technology is going to blow my mind just like it would somebody from 100 years ago, and that is what I would be interested in. Like diseases. Cancer might just be like, oh, I got a touch of cancer, I can't come in today. And then you're in the next day. It just takes, oh, I had to get a shot to take care of that, I'm fine. You know, or the way we travel. There's a lot of things going on right now with self-driving cars and flying cars. Elon Musk has got some ideas with his Boring Company where cars are going to go into the ground and be shuttled to different places that way. There's the magnetic trains that are going to go at, you know, about the speed of sound. There's all sorts of things with transportation that would be really interesting to see how they came along. And space travel, did we get to colonize Mars yet in 100 years? That's something that seems just unfathomable now. Just like jet airplanes seemed unfathomable back then, or putting a man on the moon. So to think in 100 years, do we have like trips going to Mars. Yeah, I've got relatives, they live on Mars. They do this stuff over there. We could get over there. We visited them over there. We might have Americans that are born on Mars. They're actual Martians by then. You never know. Another thing that would be interesting to find out is what we do for work and careers and things like that, because it seems like robots and technology are going to be taking over a lot of industries, from the medical field to driving. There's a lot of truck drivers, over-the-road truck drivers, that do that for a living, and their families have for generations. And with all of the self-driving trucks that are going to be coming out, and it's looking like that industry might be wiped out. Uber is already heavily invested into the self-driving cars, so all those people that work for Uber currently as drivers, that's going to be gone too. There's delivery drones. There's all sorts of, there'll be self-driving delivery vehicles. I think the whole driving industry for a living is going to be gone. So what other industries are going to be gone because of that? And what will we be doing for work at that time? It's something that they're saying that you may have to be in a situation where you have to be in the arts or something creative. But even I've seen robots that can do paintings just as well as any artist can. And it just takes compilations of paintings that it's seen and styles that it's seen, and it can make an original work of art that is absolutely amazing to look at. So even art may not be safe. So it would be interesting to see what jobs are gone and what we do for a living and how the whole monetary society works in 100 years from now. And the reason I wouldn't go like 1,000 years ahead or 50,000 or 1,000,000 years ahead is because when you got there, things would be so vastly different than anything we're used to today that you wouldn't even be able to fathom what's going on around you. And when you came back, you certainly wouldn't be able to explain it in a way that people could understand. So I think 100 years is just a good time span to jump forward. And it would be a nice visit. I would stay for a while and get to see some of the things that I'd want to see. And then I would probably still pick up a sports almanac while I'm there. And then come back and say to a lot of people things like, "Hey, what are you looking at, butthead?" So I would go towards the future, as I said, if I did a time travel. But I don't want to imply that there is no valid reason for someone to go into the past, because there are. Maybe you're a huge Elvis fan and you would like to see Elvis in concert during his prime. That's a valid reason. Maybe you want to see Martin Luther King deliver his "I Have a Dream" speech. Valid reason. Maybe you want to go all the way back to the time of Jesus and meet Jesus. There's a lot of valid reasons that you'd want to go back in time as well. And maybe there's other times in the future that you'd want to check out besides just 100 years from now. So I'd be interested to hear, if you could travel in time, whatever date in the future or in the past, where would that be? Where would you go? What would be your first destination on your bucket list? So leave that in the comments below. Thank you so much. Well, you guys, this has been another successful night chat here on Tommy Travels the Second. We covered a lot about time travel, and I'll be interested to hear all the different times that people want to check out. And if you liked what you saw here today, go ahead and hit like on my YouTube channel. Go ahead and hit subscribe and the little bell notification next to it so you can be the first to know when a new adventure comes out. And this has been an absolute blast. Thank you guys so much for the support that you've given me so far. And until next time, I hope to catch you on the flip side. If I did go back in time, it would probably be to figure out which level of the parking ramp I parked in earlier that morning. Earlier this week, I did a video about and so if I went into a time machine to go to the